So today we are going to start our class by opening Photoshop and starting class from Photoshop. Photoshop is going to allow us to do a very important part of our app. That is the app icon. Every app you do, there must be an icon. There must be something that gives the app a feeling, makes your app, whenever you see the WhatsApp, you know that, oh, this is WhatsApp, this is YouTube, this is Google, this is that, you know what it is based on the icon that appears on your screen. So we're going to design our icon for our app, set it up and then develop it. Now, the icon has dimensions. The icon has dimensions. What I mean is that the icon, the size of the icon, or the shape of the icon is supposed to be 500 by 500 pixels. And then the app icon itself, where the writings will be 300 by 300. What do I mean? Let me show you. So over here, I'll go to File. In File, I'll go to New. And in here, I'll type in 500 by 500. And I'll click Create. Now, I'll go to New again. And in here, I'll type 300 by 300. And I'll click on Create. So when I take this and before I take it, let me just make this a color, any color in which is suitable. So here, let's say blue. And then before I come for this one too, let me make this a color, any color that is suitable. Let me just change this from blue to, let's say this color here. That's fine. That good. So with my selection tool, I'll move the blue from here to this one. So I don't need this one anymore. No, don't say. So this one, I'll carefully place it in the middle. And this is what I'll say, that our app, this is the icon, this is the size of the icon, but our writings, the pictures, the things we do should be in the blue section. Are we okay? Should be in the blue section. So over here, I'm going to change my color from this yellow to white. I'll use my drop tool and change it to white. I'll make sure my background is selected. Now change it to white. Luckily for me, I've already downloaded an icon I want to use for my app. The icon I want to use for my app is this. So I will just bring that into my work application. And over here, I have my icon. Okay, beautiful. The problem with my icon is it is too big. So I'll reduce it for it to fit in the dimensions in which I chose. That is these dimensions. Beautiful. Now, of course, I don't need the blue section. So in the layout, I'm going to remove it. In the background here, I'm going to use my magic eraser tool to erase, not that background, sorry, but the background for the icon, the hand. So that it now has the white icon. Very good. So I've just designed my own icon for BMI. Now, I need to save this, very importantly, as a PNG file. So here, I'll go to Save As. And in Save As, I'll browse to a location that I can save my file. I'll call this Android class. And in Android class, I'm going to save my picture as BMI logo.png. The BMI logo, of course. The .png part would be me selecting the file type, but I think I did the wrong thing here. So let me go back to File, save a copy, and I'm saving the copy as a PNG file. And again, I have to browse to the location I want, and the location I want is Android class. And I want what to call this BMI logo, and click on Save. Okay, and I have just designed my own logo. Very fast with Photoshop, very quick, very, very easy. Now I have to bring my logo into my Android application. I have to bring the logo into the Android application. How will I do that? I would first of all go to the resource folder, the one with the RES. Right click it and click on New. And in New, I'll go and look for New Image Asset. Again, I'll right click on Resource. Go and click on New and click on New Image Asset. And when I click on that and it opens up for me, I am going to go and then browse to where my file is. Here I have asset type, which is image, and the path. So I'll just click here and go to the path that my image is. Where is my image? My image is in Pictures, and in Pictures, I have a folder there called Android class. So easily, I can just copy the link in File Explorer. That is, I can just copy this link here, and when I copy it, instead of me going through all the folders here, I'll just come here, highlight everything, and paste it there and press Enter. And beautifully, it goes to the location of my file. I'll open it and click on this and press OK. And immediately, you see that my file comes up here. Wonderfully, they are telling me that the name of the icon already exists. So here, I'll just do an underscore and call it BMI. And then immediately it goes away. Over here, we will see some fascinating things. Because I use the dimensions, you can see that the image always falls within the circle at the right point. So if somebody's app icon is a circle or it's a skew skull or whatever it is, or it is rounded, or it is a square, or it is a legendary icon, or it is a filled icon, whatever it is, you can see that my icon shows them because I use the correct dimensions. It is high time we as IT people realize that the beauty of something also matters. It's not just about the software being the software. Our software must look good too. It must feel good. It must look professional so that when we are charging, we can charge money that is good enough. Back here again, all I have to do now is click on Next. And again, one important thing we must note is that when we click on Save, it will save the image in all the different file formats. That is, it will save the image as a low format, a high format, an XXD format, a very, very low format. All the various image formats will be saved so that when someone's phone is of low image quality, then the low format will be picked. When it is of high image quality, then the high one will be picked. So immediately we click on Finish, all of the various file formats will be saved for us. So I have saved my application. I have saved it. But that is not the icon. How do I now tell the computer that, okay, what I have saved, make that the icon? Where will I go? I'll go to the manifest folder. Now, in the manifest folder, we can see here that they are asking me, Android icon, what do I want? I want IC_launcher_B what? BMI. And you can see that immediately the color over here changes to my icon. Here too, we want rounded underscore BMI. And we can see that immediately it changes to my icon. Wonderful. So now, whenever my app is either rounded or you change it is square or whatever, my icon is what is going to show. How do I know that my icon is what is showing? So I'm going to run this onto my phone. I've already connected my phone. Over here, I have my Scrappy running. So here I'm going to put on my phone, and my phone is set up now. So my phone is on the screen now. I'm listening to some music before I started the class. Please forgive me. And then here, I come back here and click here. And over here, if I look through, it hasn't sent it yet. So here it is still building. But once it sends it, we'll have a look at it. And then see if my icon will appear here. Are we okay? Now, while it is loading and it is setting up, are there any questions so far? Is there anything someone doesn't understand and wants to know? Oh, okay. Sorry. I was doing something before the class started, so let me delete these things from there, then delete these things too from there. And I'm sure now when I click here, it would run. Well, are there any questions for me? Mr. Owusu Andrew and Mr. Brian, Mr. Lucius, Mr. Musa, are you all there? Any questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, dog, we are there.
Are there any questions?
No,
we are
dog.
gradually following you now.
Hey, there are no questions. Hey. There are no questions. Hey. Over here, I have the app and it has opened. It's an empty app, okay? But the key thing we want to see is, did I get my icon, okay? So let's see if we can find it here. Not here. It's not here. What is the name of the app, Gra? What's the name of the app? Let's see. When I go to my values, I should see strings, and its name is calculator app. Okay. So it means that over here, I'm looking for C.
Yeah, calculator app.
Would be somewhere here, right? Yes, so calculator app. You can see it here. I'll be okay. At the bottom here, where the mouse is playing around, you can see I have the BMI thing there. We have calculator app, right? So I've changed the icon. As you can see, gels and works with all my icons. I've been able to do what I want to do. Now, the problem is my app is not a calculator app. It is a BMI checker. Are we okay? So how do I now change the name from calculator app to BMI checker? What will I do? I'll go to my resource folder and I'll go and look for values. And in the values, I'll go and look for strings. And in strings, I can see that the app name is here. So I can now change the name of my app. Even though when I was starting up, I called it a calculator app. Now I can change it to whatever I want. So here, I can call it BMI checker. And then I can click on the refresh button here. And when I come back to my phone, you'll see that my app will load again. Okay, will load again. Install again. And when it is done installing, I can go and look through and find BMI checker. So B, so to be somewhere here. So here. And I can see that now my app is called BMI checker. When I click on it, you can see that it is opening for me nicely. So I can change the name of my app.
Please, I can't see the phone.
Well, I haven't done any form yet. I haven't.
Okay.
So there's nothing there. So when I click here, it is Sakura. Of course, my phone is in dark mode because when your phone is in dark mode, people think you can cool down, you see. So I'm going to put it off dark mode. And you can see that when it's off dark mode, and then I click here, it pops up nicely and it is. So now we can change the name of our icon. We can add an icon. Remember, it is 500 by 500, but where the writings will be and the images will be is 300 by what? 300, set in the middle. Are there any questions before we start now developing the app itself? Okay, so if there are no questions, we must develop the app itself. In developing the app itself, the first thing we ask ourselves is the view of the app, how the app will look like. Are we okay? How the app will look like. That means we have to look at the design of the app. And if you are looking at the design of the app, then where do we go? We go to our friend, the layout, and click here and see the layout. And then we need to go to the palette. I wouldn't bother asking you guys what the palette is. By now, you all know that the palette is where we find all our tools and equipment we use to build our application. So if we are in the palette now, how are we going to build our application? The question then comes in, what is BMI? BMI is the weight of an individual, which helps nurses and individuals to determine if people are obese or underweight or normal size. And it helps us to, please, as much as possible, if we are not doing anything, let's not just unmute ourselves. It helps us to determine the weight category of somebody. Now, we need to ask the individual to enter his weight in kilograms. Very important. The weight of measure is very important. We need to also ask the individual to enter his or her height. Of course, in our scenario, we are going to be using meters. Now, once we know the height of the person and the weight of the person, then we can calculate the BMI by weight over height times height. So this will give you the BMI of the person. Now, this gives you the BMI value of the person, the value. So here I have the value of the person. Now, if the person falls within some certain ranges, that is, if you, the individual, you fall within the range of 0 to 100, 0 to 18.5, then you are underweight. If you, the person, fall between 18.5 and 24.9, then you are normal weight. If you fall between 25 and 29.5, then you are overweight. And if you are bigger than this, then you are obtuse. Oh, you are obese, sorry. Now, your application is supposed to calculate and tell the person, A, his BMI, and B, the category the person falls in. Because it is the category that the person will know if he's diabetic, he's pro-hypertensive, or he needs to go to the gym, or whatever information. The value does not matter. You see, each person who does IT, when it comes to coding, they assume that coding is about writing the code, you know, like if, then, it's not about that. It's about solving problems. So the key point is, if you don't know even the problem, how will you solve it? There's no rush. You must understand the question. That said, If I need to calculate BMI, I need weight and height. That means that I need to create an avenue whereby somebody can enter the weight and the height. So I would go immediately and look for text. And in text, because the person can enter his height and weight, and we can have 15.9 and so 14.1 kilometers and meters, I will choose decimals. And I'll place it here. And then I would stretch it so that it is big enough for someone to make an entry. And then I will copy that and paste that again so that I have two of them. Now, before I copy and paste it, before I do that, so let me delete the one I copied and pasted. I am going to stretch each and every single angle to touch all four corners. Now, why did I do that? I am constraining it to my application. I am doing a constraint layout. Now, if I copy and paste it, I would have another constraint layout already done for me that I don't have to bother myself to go and do. Because the individual who's coming to know my app needs to know what is going on. He needs to know what is going on. I will click here, and in here, I'll come and put in a text view. And then I would copy my text view and paste it again to have another text view. But of course, before I do the copy and paste, I will constrain this one so that I don't have to do the constraints for the two. Constrain it. So I've constrained it and put it under here. Good. So I'll copy and paste this. I'll copy it, come and paste it here. I think it is a bit lower, so I'll come and put it here. Good.
So
yeah.
I'm having a question.
Okay.
The constraint, what is it all about?
What is it all about?
Yeah, constraint.
Okay. Now, did you play a lot when you were a child? Is it gone?
Yeah, you said not.
Did you play a lot when you were a child?
No, please.
You didn't play?
Yeah.
Hey, Abrante, you never had bottled water and put sand and water in it?
No, please.
Hey, Abrante,
Yeah.
hey, DB, pa. Okay. Those of us who played when we were a child, we had to play. You put sand, gravel, sand and things in water. Even this one guy is not playing because you have to do that as a science experiment. Yeah. When you shake it, some of the particles will come on top, some of them will go to the bottom, and then they'll be shaking and then moving around. If you take an application like this, okay? So over here, I'm going to highlight all of this and press Ctrl+C. And just for you, I'm going to just put in things here, okay? Look at the order in which I place them. Can you see that? And just for you again, I'm going to put in a button over here. Just because I like you so much. And when I'm done, I'm going to click on run. So the app is going to run onto my phone directly, right? Now, what do we expect to see? We expect to see the pattern that I did there. But what do we see? We see everything grouped into the corner. Can you see that? The person asked the question.
Yes, bro.
Why are they grouped into the corner? Because this is like the container that has the water in it. Everything is just moving wherever it wants to move. So
Okay.
Now, if I constrain it, I am telling the application that you may be fluid like water. And there's a reason why it is fluid like water. Why is it fluid like water? Because remember, when we are using our phones, right? We like to go side view, front view, you know, all of those things. So whatever we move it to, we should be able to move and then morph into whatever shape we want it to be in. But the problem is that we want it to be in a fixed position. So we can select different types of layouts that will allow us to put a certain object in a fixed position that we want. In this example, we are using a layout called the constraint layout. If you are very observant, you will see that at the bottom here, we will see constraint layout here, where the mouse is moving. Meaning that I am constraining this thing here to a fixed position so that when the phone runs, for example, like this, nothing should move from its relative position. And you can see that the constraints are like springs. So if you move to the left or right or front or bottom, because you are like a string, you always be in your fixed one position. Does that make sense?
Yes, Doc.
We must have, as IT people, we must have imagination. And we should allow our children to play so that they can also have imagination. Not every day, kufi. So that goes for that. Did I close the? I think I closed the. So I ran it again. That is the app, right? So it should appear on our screens again. And you will see that because I constrain the values, the app itself is going to have its positions fixed. Nothing is moving into the corner anymore. Can we see that? Great. Now that we've answered the question for the gentleman, we can go forward and then finish the design of our app. Now over here, I'll go and click the title again and come and, the text view again. Okay, and put it at the top, good. I don't need another text view, but I need a button. So I need a button somewhere here. And then I need to push the button over here and make it a bit bigger, like this. Now, I'm going to zoom in a bit so that we can see. This is my layout. This thing here should say something. So I'm going to come down here to my text property. And in my text property, I'm going to type the following. BMI Cal, or I call it checker. So let me call this one to what? Checker. And press enter. So now it's saying BMI checker here. But as we can see, it's looking too small. So we can see there's all attributes. So there are lots more attributes in which I can go for. One of those attributes I can go for is the font size. Are we okay? So I can look for font size here, or I can do the right thing in which I can do the lazy way and go for the search, actually the way in which I always do mine. And then in here, I'll type in size. And we can see font size here. So it is 14 SP. And then we don't want 14 SP. So let me make it 24 SP. 24 SP is still small. So let me make it, 23 SP is fine. Are we okay? And then font. So this is what the fonts are. The font family. And I think this font family is a bit off. So this is a bit better, sans serif. And then I'm going to put it into the middle, right? The middle. Of course, there are lines there that can help me make sure they're always in the middle. Now that I've gotten it into the middle, of course, the button here is not constrained, so I can quickly constrain that one too, so that it will not be moving around and giving me a very odd design. Very good. Very good. Now, when I click here, I want to give it a hint text. Hint text means that there'll be some writing in there so that when the person starts to type, they need to go away. So in here, what do I have here? In kilo, what did we say? It should be kilo, weight in kilograms, right? So in kilograms, good. In kilograms, enter. Very good. And then over here, I would like a hint text for that one too, and say in
Meters.
meters. Thank you. Good. Now, over here, I would go for this and then go for the text property and change it to enter weight. Weight is like this, right? So weight. Good. And here I'll click here and say enter height. Okay. Now, if I run this on my app again, if I run this again onto my phone, of course, this BMI checker, I haven't constrained it. So immediately I know that if this app finished running, this BMI will be hit into the corner for me and it will look ugly. So let me quickly just fix that. Okay, I'll fix it quickly. Wonderful. And then I'll come and put it here. Oh, the weight has gone wherever it has to go to put. Where is it? Come back here. Good. So now let me rerun this again. Let me put this one closer to it. Good. This one should come to the side a bit. Yes. Come to the side a bit. That's good. So let me rerun this again. Open up my phone again. And then this is how my app looks like. This is how my app looks like. BMI calculator, a place for me to enter the kilograms, a place for me to enter that. So that when I enter them, they go away. Are we okay? And then when I'm done, I can just press my button here and then to give me the calculation I want. But the button here, what have we having there? Button doesn't look that nice. So it means I need to go back, click on button, and go and look for buttons text property. In there, I'll just write calculate BMI and press enter. And of course, you can see that that will allow the BMI writings to what? To change. Wonderful. So now, just so that everything looks good, I'll bring this up a bit. Bring this also up a bit. And then bring this up a bit. Wonderful. I'll just zoom out. So this is what I look like. Compact, nice, good looking. Yeah? Now, where is my answer going to be at? My answer is going to be at the bottom here. It's going to be two things. Number one is going to tell me the person's BMI. And number two is going to tell me if the person is obese, lost weight, and so on and so forth. That means I need a text box for the first answer in the middle, and I need a text box for the second answer that is also going to be in the middle. Now, in here, if I run it to give me text view and it will not look nice. This one too, the same thing. So I'll clear the content of them. So both of them are what? Empty. When I come and click here, oh, why do these things keep on going into the top half of the thing like that? Okay, good. Now that's fine. I'll click here and I'll start to do some things. What am I going to do? I'm going to start giving them their system names. So here, instead of it being edit text decimal 3, I'm going to call it txt weight, so that I know that whenever I call on this, I'm calling on the weight content of the application. I'll click refactor over here. So wait, let me just do this. And then click refactor and click, do this back to T and then refactor it back. Good. I'll click this one and here I'm going to call it txt height and then refactor. I'll click on this one and call it btn answer or ants. I'll refactor this one too. I'll click on this one. Refactor means that any place that has that, conform it to this name. Are we okay? I'll click this one too, and then I'll call it display as one, refactor, and I'll click this and call it display as 2 and refactor. Now, obviously, because these two are not constrained, when I run them, the answer will not appear where I want. So again, I'm going to constrain the two of them. Wonderfully. And because I am struck for time, what I'm going to do is I'll go to the code side of the application and look for display answer 2. This is the constraining code I wrote by doing that. And I'll just come and paste it over here. And go back to design. And then just move the other one to the top. You understand? So this is the 2. So the 2 has to come at the bottom of the 1. So let me put the 1 on top. This is 1 on top. And then over here, I can put in what? 2. Wonderful. Now, I'll click on 1 and go and look for its text property and make sure it is what? Empty. And I'll click on 2 and click on its text property and make sure it is empty. Now, as you can see, I gave them their system names before I went to make them empty. Because once they are empty, locating them is going to be very difficult. So now I have everything I need to leave the design phase and move to my Java phase, whereby I'll write the functionality of my app. So now I can go to the phase whereby I can now write the code that will allow my app to do the things in which I want it to do. So I'll now go and click on project, go and click on the main activity, and here I'll have my main activity code here for me to write. The first thing I'll do is I will go and create Java versions of the components I created on my screen. Or let me rephrase, I'll create Java versions of the components I need from my screen. So I need the edit text, and that edit text is going to hold, number 1, the weight value. So I'll just call it W value. Okay, or for better, yeah, let me call it, W value. And then I also needed to hold the height value. So these are the first 2 edit texts I need. On my screen, again, too, I have a button, and I needed to hold the answer of my application. On my screen, too, I have a text view, so capital T view, and in there I have display 1 and display what? 2. So I've created Java versions of the components I require. Now I must bind the Java version to the visual version, that is the one in the XML layout folder, to the Java version. How will I do that? I'll just come and write the code of v value is equal to, into brackets, edit text. Then I'm going to find a view by ID, and I'm going to find it from the resource folder using its ID, where the ID of that item is called txt wait. I'll do the same thing for the height. So the height is also an edit text. I'm going to find it by view ID, where the resource r.id of the item is txt height. You can see that the name I used in the back end is the same name that is coming in the front end. Are we okay? Any questions so far? Oh, sorry. Are we there? Stephen, Seth.
Yes, we are there, dog.
Yes, sir, we are there.
Are any questions?
No question.
Yeah.
I told you before, when it comes to Java, you are the best. It's true. It's true. Again, I'm going to say text view, which I call D1, is equal to, into brackets, txt find by, yes?
Please, can you zoom it so that we'll check it well?
Can I zoom it there? Zoom in will be very difficult. Appearance. Okay, size is here. But they are not allowing me to make changes to the size. Okay. So I think 18 will be too big. Apply, let me see. Can you see? Can you see? Is 18 okay?
Please. Yes, please.
Okay. So over here, I'm going to say this, and then this is going to be display answer 1. And just so that I don't have to do this again, I'll just copy it and then change this to 2, and change this also to 2, and have this one done. Then finally, I'll say answer is equal to button find view by ID resource.id dot btn answer, and then I'll end this one here. So I have just created Java versions of everything you see on the screen here. I have just told the computer that whenever you see the thing on the screen, think of it as this. And whenever you do something to this in Java, think of it as this. So I have binded them together. That in mind, I'm going to tell the computer that go and take the button and listen to the button. Listen to it in such a way that if somebody goes to click something on the button, then execute the code I have over here. And what code am I having over here? I am going to take that section again because I think it was a bit too fast, even for me. So I'm going to click on the dot, and when I click on the dot, it gives me all the attributes of the object. Answer is an object because it's a button. So it will give you all the things you can do with a button. Are we okay? And with the button, I can set on click listener. So you can see that whenever I start typing SET, it highlights set on click listener for me. And I press enter in there. Then I type new, and I then go and type the capital V. The moment I do that, you can see view.onClick listener, the first thing that comes up. And then I just press enter there, and the rest comes for me. Now, in here, I am going to type what should happen when I click on the button. And what should happen? The things which should happen is that I should be able to go for the values that are inside the button. So they are doubles. So I'm going to say double, or I can say float if I want to. W value or float weight should be equal to.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, Doc, please, with the listeners or the events, is there no way that you can select the event from the front end side, and then it will generate the code for you in the code view, or always you have to go to the code side and then write it?
The next way
yourself?
You can do that is that you can write a function and then let the function be clicked. So what I mean is you can write function like this, okay? Oh, sorry, I've been writing PHP code all day, so I just wrote function just like that. Forgive me. So over here, I'll have to write public void action into brackets, okay? And in here, I'll just say set text. So let me say display one dots set text into brackets hello, like this. So now this action, okay, you can go to the display, and in here you can look for the on-click action here. And in here, you can see that it allows you to put in this directly here. So now, whenever I click on the button keyword, so I have the button selected. So whenever I click on the button, this function is going to be executed for me. The honest truth is, this way of coding is highly frowned upon. It is not something in which we want you to be doing. So we do not want you to be doing this type of coding. As a professional, you would prefer to control your actions by using a set on click listen or an event handler. Is that clear?
Okay, thank you.
So again, back to the code. Here, I'm going to say double, oh, so I use float. So float dot pass, or let me use float. So I can pass it to the float, right? Before that, let me just go and get the information from there first. So here I'm going to use w value dot get text. dot to string. Okay, now of course it is highlighting for me because it is telling me that I am trying to, and this is Java for you, I am trying to put in a string variable into a float. That means that I need to be able to pass a string to a float. So to pass string to float. The same thing we did last week for integer values when we're doing our application for adding two numbers. So here I'll just say capital L float dot pass float. And in here, I'll put every statement here into this bracket here. And once I do that, the line goes away because I've just told the computer that whatever you get, go and change that value into a float and put it into weight. Why am I using a float? Because it is a decimal value. Hence, if the value comes and I make it integer, some of the points will go away because the integer will make it whole. If it is a float, then it means all the values will be saved for me. To make my life easier for me, I am going to create a function to do the calculation for me. Since we are doing Java and we are supposed to learn how to code, it's not every day that you want to code everything in the block. You want to use functions and stuff. So let's start using that so that we will grow a bit. So here I'm going to write in public, and I'm going to make this a static. And I'm going to, do I need to make it? I don't need to make it static. So let me take public, and I'm going to make it double. And I'm going to call this my variable calculate. BMI. Wonderful. And in here, I'm going to make it take in a float variable of weight, and then a float variable of height. So just so that people don't get confused, let me make it take in W and H. And in here, I'm going to let it return. And why is it returning something? Because it is a double. If it was a void, it will not return. Because it is a double, it has to return a value onto itself after it has finished running. So I'm making it return to itself BMI, which is going, okay, there's no need for me to type BMI there. So I just write the computation there, which is W over H times what? H. And this H times H, I'm going to put that in a bracket so that it knows that that computation must be done first. And of course, over here, I can just tell the computer that, wonderful, display one dot set text. And then into the bracket of the set text, I'm going to say your BMI is, and here I'll add a plus, and then I'll just come and put the value of the BMI there. That is float BMI is equal to this, whereby this section here is going to take in weight, and this section here is going to take in height, and it will close. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, once this, oh, sorry, over here, it is asking me to cast it to double because here I did it double, forgive me. Good. Now, over here, all I need to do is tell the computer that it should put in BMI over here. And then I can now display that value to the user. The next thing, I need to calculate the person's category. So again, I'm going to say public double, public, this time it doesn't need to be a double, it has to be a string because I'll be putting an answer there. Get BMI category into brackets float BMI. Wonderful. And then in here, I'm going to put in the code we did over here, where we said if the BMI falls within a particular range, then it should return a particular value. That said, now I can tell the computer that display2.setText is going to be BMI
Dog,
category. Yes,
my hand has been up for long.
pardon? Oh, I'm
My
sorry.
hand,
I haven't seen your hand. Please talk. If you have anything to say, you can pause me at any time and talk. Okay, so what is it?
I was asking if the audio will include a video of what you are doing.
All the audios, all the
Because
videos.
it looks like I'm lost.
Oh, I'm so sorry. All the videos
Okay.
I sent you, I've already sent you videos on every class, and all of them are video. Or
Yes.
so all of them will have this in it.
Please, I can't.
I said that all the videos I've sent you of the class already have this in it, like they are both video and audio. So they'll already have the video version of this. So, by the way, what I have here is me completing my app. Wonderful. When I click here, my app is going to run onto my phone again for me. Wonderfully. The app has launched successfully. Let's see if you type in the values, it will run. So, who do I, Mr. Bois, are you there?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How about
Okay.
you?
Oh, woman, there, we can't ask you what is your weight. So you, what is your, what, okay, don't mention your own, but mention someone you know's weight for me.
My weight is
Not your own, or someone you know.
My weight.
yes, it's someone, not me.
Mention the person's weight for me.
This
Around is 118.
It's what?
Are you Esther?
Sorry.
Are you all Esther? Hey, Emma. Whoa. Esther, what is the weight of the person you want to mention?
I said it's 62.
62 kilograms.
Yes, please.
Move back to one, you know. Okay, no problem.
Hey,
The height is what?
hey, Anna.
The height is what?
Height in centimeters.
In
or
meters. Hey, centimeters, they say in real. In meters. Let me help
I
you
don't
out.
know.
So let's
Yes.
say the
Mention
person,
anything, we'll calculate it.
100. Okay. Hey, this is too big.
Yes.
Let me say it's like this, whatever. So if I press it, it tells me that the BMI of the person is 0.0 something, which is, I think, it is too small. I think we need someone who has a bigger mass. Are we okay? And then that said, the place we have the BMI, it didn't calculate the second place where we have the BMI of the individual. It didn't calculate if you are very observant. So let's say here we say the person is 200 and then his height is, let's say that, and I click on calculate. It tells me the BMI, all right, but it does not tell me the category the person falls in within. Can you see that? So it means there's a problem with that section. So let's go back to the code and solve that section because we can't leave that section there. So back to the code means that over there, which would be here, everything here is looking fine, but over here, I think it is conflicting with the name we have here. So let me call this B. Yes. So that it knows what name to use. Good. So now I can run my application again. And I'm sure if it doesn't work, then I'll separate it at the top. But I just didn't want to do that. I just wanted to run it from there. So again, we have this. Our app has run nicely for us. And again, we can enter the person's weight in kilograms, his height in meters. And then we can see that the person here is that meters, but again, this thing didn't run. This side of it, the calculation of the BMI didn't come. So let's see what that one is also all about again. So I'm going to highlight this one again. By the way, with this in mind, we can see that
This is the run. Did it work? Did you run it?
Hey. And when they did they ran the thing, yeah, baby. Hey, Raddy. So then see the queen. Hey. Okay. When I see we ran the thing. Hey, Charlie. Oh, okay. Display as two. Okay, that's fine. So I just wanted to check and make sure that everything is correct. So the BMI category is that. Okay. Let's see. So now I run it again. Loads straight onto my phone. And as you can see, I'm using my phone to do the testing and everything. Now here, if I enter this, I enter that, I get a value here, and it is still telling me that your BMI, and then it doesn't give me the other side. So let's see why. Again, finally. By the way, this allows me to do something over here. And as you can see, we have the build analyzer here. At the bottom here, we have the log cat here, which shows you all the activities that are going on in your phone at every single point in time. Here we have this one, which gives you all the problems you have. Okay. So I think it is coming from here, whereby it is running it, but it is not supposed to. It's supposed to have given me an error because BMI is not an integer. It is a string. So I have to change it back from float to to string. So you have to change from float to string. So over here, yeah.
But since the BMI is being concatenated with the string, won't you just convert it direct?
Yes,
Or you have to do
in Java, you would have to convert it back to a string so that it will recognize. You understand? So you remember when we were doing what we did last week, you remember we did string of value, right? I think we can do string of value for this one too. Where we did string of value like this, so that the value of the item will be changed from a string to that the operand has to be changed from float to string. So let's see. Okay, so let's see. I'll come back to my phone. And note that the app I am doing is the app in which you people were supposed to do as your assignment. I hope you know that, right?
yes, please.
And I hope you know that
Yes, please.
the moment I'm done, it's your turn to come and present it one by one. I hope you know that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we'll be
We are
hey. Okay, so we would meet again next week. I'll put the video online and we'll meet again next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Make sure you go and then whatever you have done on your own, go and make the changes there. Do you understand?
Yes, please.
And
Thank
then
you, Lord. God bless you.
when we come next week, you will come and show me.
Please, I have a question.
Yeah.
Hey.
Ask your question.
Okay, so say after writing all these codes, the first day it ran very well. Then after some 3 days, I opened and then some errors codes came. I have to start. Yes, but because this hint button showed up, I followed the hint. Now it's left with 2 errors. The last one is anonymous new view dot on click listener can be replaced with lambda.
Okay. Now,
and earlier the errors were so plenty that I didn't know what to do.
I'm failing to see where the question is.
After we have done writing our code, is there something that happens that bring back those errors?
Oh, no, there's nothing that happens though. After you have finished writing your code, the errors, there's nothing that happens that bring the errors. The errors come from okay. So after you have written your code, there should be no errors, even if you take the code again in 100 years. And one thing in which a piece of advice, and if you want to do programming, because programming is not for everybody. Let's not lie to ourselves and tell ourselves that programming is for everybody. Programming is not for everybody. But one thing in which I must tell you without a fact that if you want to be great at programming, you must have projects you are working on and you must complete them. And when you are complete with them, you must do it again and again and again until you think you are perfect. And with each one, you improve something. And do not be afraid to make a mistake. And that is very key. Do not be afraid to make a mistake. There is no mistake that is too big or too small. And you must work on it. And that is the point where people think there is some kind of key or there's no key. It takes hours hours and hours. If I was doing this and I was alone, this would take me like 5 minutes. So be patient with yourself and find the joy of trying something you've never tried before and succeeding. And of course, when you are done with the app, you can always go and click on build. Are we okay? And then you click on build bundle, build APK. And when you're done clicking on the build APK, you can send the app to your friends. And when they use it, they'll be like, ah, what are your app? Say, I'm here. 2 points for honor. We are still obeying now. I'm not going to be using my dear Jane. You can copy the build APK. And whatever friend you have, you can put it in their group and send. And whatever phone, Android phone they have, they can download it. Like how I've just put it in the messages. And they can set it up on their page. And they can have the app on their phones. And they can use the app that they have on their phone. Be trying stuff. Have fun in trying. Do not be afraid to make a mistake. And again, whenever you see 1,000 errors, they are errors. It's yours to solve it. Why is it there? Then you solve. Why is this one there? And you realize that with time, there will be no errors because when the error comes, you already know what it is. Anyway, thank you all for showing up today. As always, I will send you the video either today or by tomorrow. And again, try your best to practice. Is that okay?
Yes, please.